happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to the Monday Sesh with Asesh, the podcast made with love for the awesome salary finance team, a team now in the UK, India, and also South Africa. And so, wishing you all a very happy week ahead. Today, very pleased to be welcomed by Rihanna from our client success team. The topic is Real Talk Mum Life. Rihanna, excitingly, is expecting her second child. Will be going on maternity leave soon, and so we'll be kind of deep diving on that. As a father of two myself, a topic close to my heart, and kind of very much looking forward to the discussion. But as always, just a few headlines to start on kind of things which are occupying my time at the moment. So on the personal side of things, it is a Monday. We film a Monday before this goes out, and so I wasn't too well this weekend actually. Nothing too serious, but I have this very boring stomach condition called ulcerative colitis. It gets triggered on certain foods. One of those is spinach, and so I am like the opposite to Popeye, basically. And so Popeye, when he has spinach, gets bigger and stronger. When I have spinach, it does the opposite and kind of gives me loads of stomach cramps. And so you're probably wondering, why I ate spinach. And if you've seen me at lunch, Hema is very kind and shares food sometimes. It wasn't Hema's kitchen. I was wondering, but we're so close to bonus time, it definitely cannot be Hema. It was actually my wife, though to be fair to her, she prepared a meal for four of us. She had 3 meals without spinach, with spinach, one without. I was then a little bit greedy, sat down, started eating before everyone else, and picked the wrong plate. So it was entirely on my own doing, but kind of thankfully on the mend. Work-wise, a very busy time, and so like I say, this is filmed a week before it goes out. Working very hard on completing the end of year review process, and so when this does go out, we'll be releasing hopefully the individual pay reviews and individual bonuses. We had a really good year last year, and so as hoped and as expected, it's hopefully a good year from a bonus and pay review perspective. The way it works is that we need to deliver everything, not most of the things, for that to happen. We're 99% of the way through this week. There's 2 things we need to complete to allow us to release the bonus letters. One is what we call Project Dove, where we're raising some additional debt funding. And so, as you know, 5% of our loans we fund using cash. We're financing that. That's going to release £5 million initially, which will be used to fund the bonuses, which is kind of a key reason kind of why we need to get that done ahead of the bonus. And then similarly, we have some debt from Goldman Sachs, which matures in March, which we're extending. Again, which is key, because when we get in the money, we then don't want to have to pay that to Goldman Sachs. And so we are very closely there, and hopefully by the time this goes out, we'll have got it over the line, and bonus letters and pay rises will be announced. But kind of more to come on that. But kind of so far so good. And then thirdly and finally, just in terms of kind of trading so far this year, if you haven't already, please do read Tim's email, which kind of set out how we did in January and what a great February looks like. I won't kind of read it because you can read it yourself, but just to kind of share, January was a good month. And so from a loans originations perspective, we originated 13.5 million. We did a similar amount on advance as well, which were kind of both broadly in line with our targets. We're also in line with the interest rate which we're trying to hit, which we think is optimized. It kind of works for us. It's good value for our consumers and for our funders as well. In Tim's email, he mentioned that we were slightly concerned around delinquencies, and so kind of customers missing their first payments with us. We get January's data or any month's data from that perspective on the 8th working day of the following month. So we just got that in, a couple of days ago. And pleasingly, January is the best we have performed on that metric since 2021. So that's a really kind of huge thing. So we've been doing lots of work in collections, as you know, to kind of help our customers pay, help them avoid missing the first payment. If they do, getting in contact with them and kind of helping helping them get back on track. And then so finally, I think we're starting to turn a corner there. So Overall, kind of year has started well from a trading perspective. We are on track on all parts of it now. But like I say, make sure you do look at Tim's email, and we performed really well last year because we were on OK odds. We want to do very much the same again this year. And then finally, in terms of kind of what's on my mind, it's half term this week, and so for those of you kind of with children, you'll kind of know. And I was asked the other day, are you doing anything for half term? And my answer was, the only thing I'm doing is winging it. And so in terms of kind of day by day, kind of working out how I manage kind of work and family, but it usually works out. I think that's a good segue to welcome Rihanna and to start the conversation with Rihanna. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. So Rihanna, it's coming up to how long at SF now?
When I joined, March 2021.
So yeah,
okay. Over 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, just about 4 years this year.
Yeah, 4 years. Awesome. And so we're going to deep dive for most of the time on, I guess, life as a mum coming up to your second kind of child. But why don't we start just kind of briefly from the beginning as well? So tell us about kind of where you were kind of born, grew up, what life was like there.
It's all very vanilla, actually. I realised as I was writing this out. So nothing too exciting or exotic. I grew up in North Oxfordshire, born in North Oxfordshire. My parents still live in North Oxfordshire, so I spent a bit of time back there. Went to school in Oxford, and then went up to uni in Sheffield because I fancied getting a bit grittier and heading up north. And then back down to London after uni. I went travelling for a bit and then moved back down and sort of started my career. It's very, very brief, but also pretty
great,
uneventful.
And your brothers or sisters? Or?
I've got 2 brothers.
Older, younger?
Both older. So I've got my eldest brother is like 5 years older. He also lives and works in London. And our middle brother is severely disabled, so he's in full-time residential care, sort of up nearer to where my parents are. So still go up and see him, when we can. So
cool. And what did you study at university?
I studied English literature, which you might remember last week I won the literature quiz, so that finally came in handy after all these years. I got to use my degree for once, which was great. English literature and history I studied, so
And you still like reading, I take it then?
Well, I do still find the time to read, actually. I guess I read most evenings when I go to bed. Not for as long as I probably like to now. I just sort of look at a book for about 10 minutes and then fall asleep. But I do like to read.
Good. And what types of things do you read?
I really like. I always have a history book and a literature book on the go. So I'm currently reading a Sally Rooney book and also quite a hefty history book called The Plantagenets, which is a 900-page.
Wow.
I'd be probably quite a dry read to lots of people, but I quite like it. So that's for when the insomnia kicks in, you can get that one on.
And so you said you moved from born in Oxford, went to Sheffield as a bit grittier. Did you like the grit in Sheffield? I noticed you're now back in London.
I mean Sheffield's a lovely city. I should hasten to add. I just found I really had a thing that I fancied going up north. I think at the time it was very like indie bands were at their peak, and I was a massive Arctic Monkeys fan, and I think that was my primary reason. I still do like them. They've got a bit rogue the last few years, but I just remember sort of having this vision of going to uni up north, and a lot of my friends were the same actually. So I had a few friends in Leeds. I was the only one who went to Sheffield out of my school friends. That was kind of my primary reason for looking up there, but I absolutely loved the city. I really liked the uni. The uni in there was amazing. It was a great place to go to uni, and I had really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Cool. And then what brought you to London? What did you first?
Money, I would say, the primary. Just jobs and the kind of thing that I wanted to do. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest. I think I remember I enjoyed the academic side of the subjects that I studied at uni, and then sort of came out the other side, and I remember just being a bit sort of I hadn't sort of thought that far ahead about what was after that. And yeah, I remember having sort of at the end of uni, we had a few talks and things about like where your career could go after this. And I quite quickly noticed that all of the ones for my subjects were focused on teaching, and I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. So I was like, well, what else can we do? So yeah, I had to sort of find my way into doing something that yeah, I've kind of found interesting. And I think sort of started working for a couple of my first jobs were for like experiential marketing agencies. So got like an account executive role at one of those, and then that quite quickly went bust. So then moved to a different agency. Yeah, so that was kind of an interesting like insight, I guess, quite early on from your career going straight in. And it was kind of like, I mean, I graduated in 2011, so you were still in that kind of post-economic crisis sort of wake of just so many people working for free. And yeah, and you're obviously just moved down to London, start paying rent and all of that stuff, and then you're like, everyone's working for free. And turns out everyone's got an English literature degree, but they don't know what they're doing with. So yeah, there was a bit of a steep learning curve there. But yeah, once I got into the like account management side, I did find that I liked the kind of bit that you're bridging, either working for like, you know, an agency or, you know, in somewhere like SF, and you're kind of working with different brands. So you work with sort of different brands, different industries. And you get to like explore quite a breadth. So I've worked with like lots of retailers, I've worked with charities, I've worked with financial institutions. So you get to understand a lot of different industries and get exposure to all of that. So yeah, I've always enjoyed that.
Great. And how did the role at SF come about for you?
Well, when I guess like after I did the account exec roles at the agencies that I worked at, I then moved to Nectar, which I think I always think of as my first like proper job, where I sort of thought, okay, I can see this like being a longer term sort of career piece, because they had that kind of clear road for progression. So after a couple of years, I was like an account manager there and had a team and stuff. So yeah, that took me on to another. After a few years there, I went on to another company which was like specialised in app-based loyalty, so it's still within that loyalty bit. And then yeah, it was actually, I found out about SF because Mara, who is back currently covering Velocity, so she used to work at the app-based loyalty company where I worked before, Yo-Yo Wallet. And then she'd come to SF, and I always saw her posting about how great a company it was. And so it was kind of in my peripheral, and I saw a role come up, and I had a chat with, it was Ren at the time. Yeah, and then it kind of progressed. So it was one of those things that kind of seemed to happen in quite a straightforward way, you know, and sometimes I think if there's no friction, it's a good sign that it's just sort of meant to be. So yeah, it was, so I've been here since 2021.
Great. And so SF, which accounts do you look after at the moment?
I've got 45 accounts, so yeah, I won't go through them all. Yes. Who's in my good books? Yeah. Who's in my good books at the moment? Some of the bigger ones that I work with are John Lewis, TJX, IKEA, so a few of the big retailers. Also work with Mencap, who are a charity. Really like working alongside them. I like a lot of the care and charity sector clients that we have. I think you know, you tend to find that the people who work there genuinely really want to support their people, and they're very bought into the benefit. You're aware it's quite low-paying industries, and the impact that having SF has, that you can really see it in their client base, and they tend to be really nice people who work for those kind of businesses. So yeah, I like working with them.
It's quite amazing, our client list at the moment. So I was speaking to Sophie this morning, and so you know, on LinkedIn, the HR director at Heathrow popped up, and she was like a first connection. I couldn't like work out why she was first connection. So I looked into her, and then she's been at her last jobs, all 4 of them were SF clients, and so one was ASOS, one was Mighty, one was whoever it was, and so I was like, well, we might as well make it 5 out of 5 at kind of Heathrow. And so kind of during your time at SF, you had your first baby, and so kind of was it boy or girl?
Yeah, so I had a girl first time round.
And how old is she now? What's her name?
She is called Nora. She's just about 2.5 now. So full of beans, potty training, lots of lots of fun.
How's that going? Any accidents?
Lots of accidents, lots of accidents. But yeah, I was saying last week. So we seem to. It's like most things with kids, is it's not kind of linear. So you'll have like a really good phase where you're like, this is amazing. Like she's taken to this really well. And then last week we had a week of a few accidents and things at nursery, and I was getting these bags back, and they like changed their clothes and just put them into little kind of sealed bags. And I was just undoing them in the evenings, being like, this is the worst game of pass the parcel I've ever played. And yeah, the prize in the middle was just some not very pleasant pants. So yeah, but
so she's at nursery at the moment. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So she's at nursery just around the corner from where we live. So yeah, it's really convenient.
Yep. And how have you found the transition into kind of working and being a mum at the same time?
Yeah, I guess there was like the first bit of, I suppose, when you first get pregnant and then you've got to get your head around. Life is going to be different, but obviously it was an anticipated and kind of happy thing when it happened. So yeah, I was just very excited about it, and then the kind of getting used to it when it does happen. And then yeah, kind of like maternity leave, and I guess taking that time out after you're very much in the headspace. Well, I certainly was for the kind of 10 years before that, of thinking like, oh, my career, I want to find the right kind of role. I want to get into company and progress and things like that. So it's kind of a very different headspace to then sort of go, okay, well now I'm gonna think about some more personal elements and focus on those for a while. But yeah, it was really I've really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being a mum. I've luckily had like a pretty, like, she's a very happy girl. She's very bright, and yeah, she's been a real pleasure of a baby, because I know people have sort of struggled with, there's so many things that can be really hard to manage. So yeah, I feel very lucky with her. So fingers crossed for number 2, because yeah, the bar's been set quite high.
And does she know she has a little? Do you know if it's a boy or girl?
Yeah, so it's a boy this time. So yeah, she knows she's getting a little brother.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got her some nice books and things like that. So yeah, there's one that's called There's a House in Mummy's Tummy or something. Okay. We read every night basically, and she really likes that. And yeah, she knows where he is. She gives him kisses and things through the tummy, nice. Which is very sweet.
So you don't look very pregnant, but yeah.
Oh really? I feel it. I feel very large. And I also realised when I was trying to pick what to wear that all maternity clothes are stripy, which is not the most flattering when you're already feeling quite large. But yeah, it's all for good reasons. So.
And it's funny, it's I guess SF is coming up to 10 years old, and I remember at the beginning, we obviously didn't have a maternity policy, and then we had one, but no one had really used it, just because and then suddenly we had people use it, and so we kind of get some feedback on it, and then it's pleasing to see people having kind of 2 children, and hopefully kind of more as well. And so I guess one of the aims of the podcast is also so people who are, or SF, from a leadership perspective, from a people perspective, but also kind of managers who are kind of managing people in their teams who have kind of colleagues going on maternity leave. How has your experience been? What should people be thinking about? How can we, individually and as an organisation, be as good as we can be to kind of upcoming mums, or to be again mums.
No, yeah, that's a good question. I think it's really good that it's nice that there is a really strong culture here of awareness of the challenges that come around, whether that's maternity, parenthood, some of those childcare, all of that stuff. It is a lot of people to manage as well as doing their job, and I think working somewhere that was really important to me, it still is, to have work somewhere where those things are genuinely considered. And I feel like if I've had a really positive experience both times, and that's with different managers. But it's very much in the fabric, I would say, here. In my experience, has been that it's been really, really positive. Everyone's been incredibly understanding. You have to go to your appointments and all of that kind of stuff. And I think, that's kind of that's the bare bones of it anywhere you work. I think, you've obviously got to go and do all of that, but it's, Yeah, the understanding, you know, when kids are ill or, you know, you can't get childcare or something like that. Like there are just sometimes, like when you said earlier, like you just have to wing it. And yeah, I think everyone who's a parent has probably been in that situation at some point. So having that understanding removes that stress of it, because you know that someone is reasonably just going to say, do you know what, that's okay. Like you can't help it, and that's it. So yeah, I think there's a really positive culture around it here.
Good. Okay, I've got a few more questions, but we can play at the same time.
Okay, I might go first.
You can
actually.
please.
I've watched you before, so I thought.
In terms of baby number 2, like, are you preparing yourself in a different type of way, or?
Not particularly. Actually, we've obviously got all the stuff, so we haven't. Worried too much about that for now.
Yep. So the little fella will be happy with girls' clothes.
Yeah. Well, my nephew. Luckily, I've got a nephew, so he's actually got quite. I've been given a lot of hand-me-downs, which is very handy. So yeah, lucky on that front. And obviously, my girl stuff I've had to get a bit less precious about, and I've given a lot of that stuff away. So my sister-in-law had a little girl last year, so I've just sort of departed ways with a lot of it. Right, okay, I think I'm already beating quite a lot of people you've beat by now, so I'm trying. I am concentrating on this quite a lot now.
And what type of parent are you? Do you have a particular approach, or?
I like to think. Oh, that one got a bit stuck. There we go. I like to think that I'm quite relaxed. Oh my God, I've done it.
Oh wow! We could cut this short now.
Yes, am I the first person to go on the board?
It's always kids. Always gets me now, joking.
I'm gonna write my name on there. So yeah. I'm quite relaxed. Like I said, we've been very lucky with Nora. She's been a really easy baby. So yeah, we try and be relaxed. I mean, she's getting to the age where she needs a little bit more reining in sometimes, which is getting a little bit cheeky sometimes. But yeah, I know there's lots of, like, especially when you first have a baby, there was like apps for timing, feeding and sleeping and changing and every element. And I think I quite quickly just got to a kind of point of saturation with it, and thought like you can get very into, because you want to do everything right, because obviously you love your child so much and you want to get it right, and there's a lot of a bit of a balancing act, I think, because there's so much like literature out there, and there's so much Instagram content and stuff that's targeted at you, or other socials probably do the same as well, but there's a lot of kind of, and also people make a lot of money from telling you how your child should sleep and eat and all of that stuff, so it's kind of a very commercial thing as well. I think you just have to have that awareness and say, like, look, I'll intake like 2 or 3 sources and make an informed decision based on that. So yeah, I kind of always took that approach, but then it is really challenging. I was talking to a friend yesterday who, her little girl is about 6 months and she's having a lot of issues with sleep, and she was like, I'm so stressed, and I could see it was really getting to her, and I think it's quite hard when you're like a logical person and quite competent in life, and at Connect 4 clearly.
Absolutely.
But when you're used to kind of applying your learning and that you can figure things out on what's right and wrong, and it's just really difficult because there isn't necessarily a right and wrong and a black and white with everything, and you can't just fix things overnight if it's sleep and things like that. It can take a really long time, and so I think it's just allowing yourself that grace sometimes.
Sleep is a big thing, and I think a lot of it is like temperament as well. And so my 2 kids, my older one, like the minute he was born, he was like wriggling, like the midwife almost dropped him because he came out and he literally didn't stop. He's now kind of 12 o'clock to 13, and so thankfully he's now relatively calm. But and so he just did not sleep. He was wriggling the whole time. My youngest son, as soon as he came out, he was like, just relax. Like you just leave him there, and it's still there 15 minutes. And it was just like, so a lot of it is just, and actually he slept a lot better, my youngest son, and I think as humans aren't programmed to operate without sleep, and so kind of like it is a tough one. And I guess you can't really choose what you get as well, so you just got to do the best.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm judging by the movement. Like I think Nora was a lot more wiggly, like in tummy. From memory, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't think I've actually felt him today. I don't know if just that I'm more busy or more distracted, but then, so yeah, I think he's a bit quieter already, and that's what I'm hoping for, is a nice, quiet, compliant boy who likes being bossed around by his sister, because that's going to be happening. So we've got fingers crossed for that.
And how is it kind of working and like traveling when you're pregnant?
Yeah, so yeah, it's not too bad. So I am one of the few West London contingent at Salary Finance who are very happy to be in White City and
just for the record,
to stay in White City.
So hopefully you filled out the survey.
Yeah, exactly. I will be filling out the survey as soon as it comes around, with a strong preference. So yeah, I'm West London based, so my journey in isn't too strenuous.
And you were always West London based, or you moved?
Since I moved just after I joined SF actually. Okay. I remember that because I just moved job and I was like, oh, I've got to move house now. But obviously, and I joined during, it was still lockdowns and things, so it was like fully remote at that time. So then it was like a coincidence actually that I moved to West London, and then the office was in White City. So yeah, it's been convenient for me since I've worked here. So yeah,
good.
Long live White City.
So you walk in, or?
No, I walk most of the way. So I live in Ealing. I walk to Ealing Broadway, and then I just get like a 10-minute tube. So it's quite nice, and it's before the tube goes underground. So in the summer when the Central Line is like really hot, I don't really get that. I just so that's
good.
Nice. Yeah, I could get some buses, but I think they're quite slow in the morning with the traffic. So I just get a tube.
And then final question from me, and so you got married recently, and so how do you separate, duties between you and kind of you and your husband?
I think we're quite equal. Like his work are also quite understanding, but his job, he does actually need to be in the office like more frequently, and he's more kind of based in a sort of studio environment within his office for the equipment and things that he uses. So I guess I'm probably, I don't want to say the default parent, but if Nora wasn't well, the nursery would always call me first, kind of thing, and I'm physically closer, so I guess it would probably be me that would go. But I think we very much take it in turns in terms of like nursery drop off and pick up. So that's all. Yeah, we have a good balance. I think we're lucky because the nursery is so close to home that it's convenient for both of us. It's not like nearer to one of our ways home. It's like right there for both of us. So. Yeah, that's convenient. We've got a bit of a change next year though, because she'll be starting in a preschool, so it's a little bit further away, so a slightly different route to work, slightly earlier start to the day. But
and is that on normal school holidays? Then, so
you have to deal with, will be.
Yeah.
But they do like holiday clubs and things, so apparently that's not a problem. But because I'll be on maternity leave next year, I think we're all right for the first year. But I don't even know how to start navigate, like thinking ahead and seeing how other people manage like half terms and. Well, that's what I was going to ask you actually. Like, what are your top tips for like holidays, and just because you don't have enough holidays through work to cover the school holidays. So like how?
Yeah, it's tricky, and so so I work full time. My wife actually works 2.5 days, but has a busy social life, and so it's like just stuff all the time. And so I guess we wing it, but so we do try to kind of book our annual leave so it's reasonably spread out. We like to do some stuff which is together, and then some stuff which is separate, which actually kind of I think works quite well. And so sometimes having the two kids together and the two parents, like it's just chaos, and actually sometimes just a one-on-one time is really good. This week, for example, it's kind of half term, and so today and tomorrow the kids are at hockey camp. I was just working through my diary with Hemma before this, and so but that starts at 10 and finishes at 3. It's not too far from where we live, and so but I need to make sure meetings don't start and kind of finish then. We don't. My wife's parents have recently moved in, not in, or we moved kind of close to us, which is kind of helpful, kind of, not as well, but but in general, we try to do it ourselves. And then actually, I think as the kids have got older, other parents are just in the same situation. So quite often we'll have kids coming over to our house and they'll just entertain themselves with kind of other ways. But it just kind of works out one way or another. There used to be a lot of YouTube. We're trying to cut down a little bit on YouTube now, and so but I think the key thing is camps basically. There's quite a lot, and I think luckily with our kids, they both quite like sports, and so they don't mind going to those ones. So kind of so much.
It's that, and it's just the school day as well, because when school finishes at 3 and
absolutely.
Work does not finish at 3,
so that's fair. So again, we do like a wrap around to 5:15. Actually, both of the kids, hopefully, they are able to do their homework after school, so they don't need to do anything in the evenings or weekends, and so their days are longer. But when they're home, they're kind of fully home. But no easy answers.
No, not looking forward to navigating that bit. But we'll take it one step at a time. So we're going. We've just got to toddler phase, just got to out of nappies, and then we're going back to the to the beginning with number 2. So lots of
super. Well, look, thank you for joining. You're obviously going to have to come again so we can play again.
A rematch. I'm going to stick.
I underestimated you. Actually, usually what I do is I distract the person, but before you came on, you said. You've never played in how many years?
I haven't played for about 15
so
years.
I underestimated you. I was like, okay, this is going to be a walk in the park. There's a lesson to me there.
There's a tactic,
Exactly. And a final question always, what would be your karaoke song?
Oh, Natalie Imbruglia, Tour.
Oh, very good.
Not would be. It's not a theoretical question. What is my karaoke song?
Yeah, what is? Okay, excellent.
Natalie Imbruglia,
Awesome. Okay, well, Rihanna, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lots of good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
Okay, thank you everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and keep fighting the good fight.